Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to come along to this report presentation. I'd like to introduce myself as Lauren Carvell. My colleagues and I have recently been doing the research and reporting on this company's decision to expand its offices overseas. What I'd like to present to you today is the aspects of the business culture involved with this move. In this report, I've made comparisons between the business cultures here in Perth and those in Singapore and Germany, as they're the two prospective locations for this move. So, using Ofsted's dimensions of culture and Globe's research findings on cultural values, I've examined the advantages and disadvantages and the issues involved with the business culture. The working definition of culture comes from Dr. Edgar Sheen, who has done extensive research in this area. He says business culture is a pattern of shared basic assumptions that a group learned as it solved its problems of external adaptation and internal integration that has worked well enough to be considered valid and therefore to be taught to new members as a correct way to perceive, think and feel in relation to those problems. So I'd like to begin briefly by giving an overview of the business culture that has been established here in Perth. Our business culture is an adaptation of the Anglo-Saxon one seen in the UK and in other parts of Europe. There is low power distance between the lowest and highest leveled employees, meaning there is an open door style of management where everyone is able to communicate with everyone without excessive formalisation. Good communication is efficient communication, which allows for that pragmatic approach to work. It fuels our ability to multitask as well, and this comes from the synchronic relationship to time seen here, where we can perform multi-organisational tasks in synchrony rather than just one at a time. I think this gives us a solid framework for teamwork and relationship building. So what are we looking for? We are looking for a location that will provide the right environment to be supportive and incorporate our business culture into it. It's a point of difference for this company and we need to be able to show it through our service and practices overseas. So first we'll look at Germany. Through media and travelling, I'm aware most of you are familiar with this culture already. The hierarchy is very similar to ours, with a medium to low power distance. This allows for the consultative nature they have. A German will not make a decision without first consulting either a higher authority or somebody of proper knowledge. This is good, especially in the early stages of establishment, as it will allow us to control what goes into the company values over there more closely. Communication stood out as a strong point too. The use of low context, highly explicit written oral communication means that information is straightforward, it has no ambiguity and doesn't need much interpretation. We don't currently use this here, but it may be implemented in the future as it's easily understood and easily adaptable to. With Germany though, there was one major issue that arose, and that's the way that they do business with others. When their focus is on finishing the task, maintaining optimal performance and putting manual skills above all, why would you have time to build relationships and network with other companies? So how would we show that we are a worthwhile company to be trade partners with? Well, to keep this company's good reputation, we would need to find a way of incorporating networking and building relationships into the work ethic. So, move on to Singapore now, a little closer to home. Although we may not be as familiar with this culture as a whole, it shares a deep history with the Western world. The business culture is a mix of traditional Confucian Asian and the Western world practices. For them, before any business is conducted, relationships are formed between the two just to build that trust and the strength. The relationship may be for immediate use and for future use. This leads on to their next strength, thinking towards the future. Their orientation for the future now enables them to make plans not only for now but set themselves up for the future. In other regards, communication, hierarchy, management style, approach to work, they're very much the same. Singaporeans are very easily integratable into, although it does suffer a flaw that we found with Germany, and that is, how can we make our point of difference? Singapore is such a cultural hub, and there are a number of other businesses from the Western world, such as the UK, US, Canada, Australia, who all boast their business cultures as their point of difference too. So will we be left behind by moving into that new area? Not so sure. The other issue that we discovered with Singapore was their fear of losing, also known as kiasu. In their business culture, the trade, task or mission must succeed, sometimes resulting in a higher cost to the business. This can be seen as either good or bad, but in relationship to our business culture, it may be detrimental. So in conclusion, for this area, we had to base it on what will be the easiest environment to integrate into and how much value will dealing with the issues surrounding it bring. The country that I believe satisfies this and will give us a rewarding challenge and will uphold our values as well is Singapore. So for a more in-depth analysis of each country's business culture, please read the report, and thank you for your time.